11:59 at Radio Free America. This is Uncle Sam with music and the truth until dawn. Right now, I got a few words for some of our brothers and sisters in the occupied zone. The chair is against the wall. The chair is against the wall. John has a long mustache. John has a long mustache. It's 12 o'clock, Americans, another day closer to victory. And for all of you out there on and behind the lines, this is your song.
Hey, and welcome everybody to our Daily Gun Show. We come to you live every day at 7 p.m. Eastern. That's 4 Pacific. For about an hour and 90 minutes. We run 3 gun-related topics each day, different topics throughout the week. We run it live on YouTube. We simulcast it over at gunchannels.com, where we're watching the live chat from all the people that are joining us live. We also will take the audio occasionally and post it over on iTunes as a podcast. We have 4 hosts. 3 of us are here right now. We got Dano jumping in from Illinois. Thanks for jumping in.
Yep, glad to be here.
And we got Smeggy in Michigan. Thanks for joining.
Hey, how's everyone doing?
And I'm down here in Arizona. Not sure where Bob's at. Maybe he'll jump in. And let's see. We are starting episode number 342. It is a Tuesday, so that means it's Second Amendment Day. Second Amendment issue today is how to change states from may issue to shall issue. We had a recent Supreme Court ruling that might change that quite a bit. Then we're going to talk about Supreme Court taking gun cases or not, which is also fairly timely. And we do a state of the state every Tuesday, and today it's Maine. So we're going to talk about Maine's gun laws. We also do like a gun shop of the day, gun movie, gun of the day, all kinds of stuff like that that we do on the regular. But before we dig into the show, we usually take a break at the beginning, talk about anything that happened overnight or anything we're talking about.
I have absolutely no idea what's happened overnight because yesterday afternoon, I fell asleep for a nap and woke up at 3:45 this morning. I was completely dead to the world.
Yeah,
I can blame it on walking in the morning and then getting tired and then having the heat would knock me out. So I don't know what your excuse is out there.
Yeah.
Well, my excuse is I didn't sleep at all Sunday night. I slept like a little tiny bit, and that was about it. So I needed to play catch up.
You were on lobbies and various talk shows for almost, it seemed like 24 hours there for some period of time.
Who, me?
No. Yeah.
Oh, I don't
know.
know.
Every time I peeked in the channels to see what was going on, I thought I saw you in there.
Yeah, but I like the last one. Actually, I was in a lobby when I fell asleep. So if you were talking about that lobby, it might look like I'm there, but I wasn't actually conscious. But
gotcha.
Yeah, I like to get around and do all the shows.
Get around.
Yeah, I get around a little bit.
All right, well, we're going to be talking about this during the show, obviously, but I see a lot of people that keep saying the Supreme Court of the United States screwed over California on CCW. They agreed with California. They screwed over 49 other states and said the law of the land is the way California interprets it. The Ninth Circuit Court came up with a bullshit ruling that a state has the authority to say who has the right to carry outside the home. And the Supreme Court said, we don't see any reason to challenge that decision. So that's not screwing California. That's screwing everybody else in the entire country. And California is just the place that the bullshits got planted and started to reek from.
That's a good way of looking at it.
This is going to have
now that opens the door. Any other state can be like, oh, you know what? Yeah, we like the way California does it. And they can change to do that.
Well, I guess before we dig into the show, I'm just going to mention that the Kickstarter project ended last night. We did a live thing. Appreciate everybody that participated in it and helped share it. That's really made it so successful. It had a good run at the end there. It was pretty exciting, I think, for everybody. And it ended just a couple of $100 and something short of $14,000. So it made for a good, dramatic end and everything. So again, thanks to everybody who participated. Now there'll be the ongoing adventure of having them printed and gathering everything up and having them shipped out and then seeing how everybody enjoys them. But Matt also had a chat. I think it was sort of abbreviated because I had to jump out. I know a couple other people jumped out, and I guess they didn't do their top 10. But I think Hawaii Volcano Squad was still going after I was done. So there was a couple of chats happening last night.
Well, congratulations on a successful Kickstarter project there. Now, is this your most successful to date so far?
For money, you mean? I don't know. I guess I think it money-wise probably, but because it was a couple of $100 more than the AK ones, but the AK one had 600 people involved. This one only had 400 something. So I don't know. I guess it just depends on what you use as success. Now I don't know if you'd count.
Right. I was thinking participation. Number
Yeah,
of people.
that's what I mean. So it's hard to say because more people probably participated in the AK ones, but I did it poorly, like figured it out. So I lost money on it. Hopefully I won't lose money on this one. So I think that way it's more successful. And then again, I can take knowledge from this and pass it along. So that way it's definitely more successful. So I think, yeah, I mean, overall, I don't see any way to call it not successful, except like I say, there was just a couple hundred people less participating in it.
Now, have you given the internet any hints or whispers of any possible future projects at this point, or not yet?
Well, I don't know, just started thinking, so now it's the next. That's the fun part, coming up with the next thing. But no, we've talked about it a little bit. I don't know if that was on air or not, about other card projects, but
that was off.
Okay. So anyhow, I think we can dig into the show then. So the Second Amendment issue today is how to change states from may issue to shall issue, which is definitely an objective, a worthy objective, I think. Fortunately, since our second segment is the Supreme Court not taking gun cases, those all involve each other. So if the Supreme Court isn't going to take the Peruta case, which is the case from California that went up to the Ninth Circuit Court, which is the progression of appeals in the state of California in the western states, and what was it? Somebody had been denied their CCW by a sheriff, and they disputed the situation, and they took it to court. The court said, no, it's fine for the sheriff to be able to say that. This is a may issue state. And then they said, let's take it to the next level, higher courts. Eventually it got to the ninth level, or the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals, where they said, yeah, California has may issue. That's fine. That doesn't infringe on your Second Amendment right to own firearms. It just tells you where you can carry them. It's no big deal. And people said, that's bullshit. Let's take that to the Supreme Court. And now, as far as I understand, the Supreme Court said, no, we don't see any problem with that. There's no reason to see this case. Now, I don't know if that means that it can't ever be pushed to the Supreme Court again, so that they have to decide on it. I don't know what kind of decision it was. I haven't seen the breakdown, so I don't know. If it's going to be like it was one person off or something, maybe it can be brought back again and then decided on. I guess we'll need some experts on that. But if we're talking about how to change states from may issue to shall issue with this circumstance, it really seems like it's going to be the other way around. How do we stop the states that are now shall issue from reverting to may issue? How do we make the California model not appealing?
That's a good question. I don't know. Other than, I think, fighting at the state level of getting, I don't even know, getting grassroots support and all that stuff, but basically to say, hey, there's no reason that you should be doing this like may issue stuff. Like, you're deciding, like, if you're a gun board or whoever, the police department or whoever the heck even runs the permitting system, like, they decide if you have a good reason or not. And some places are like, oh, I want it for self-defense. Okay, that's a good reason. Here you go. And other places will say, well, no, you only need it for self-defense if you carry large sums of money, or if you're, a celebrity, or if you're this, that, or the other. And I was talking about this earlier in the lobby there. It just, that whole system is just ripe for corruption. In fact, there was something with the NYPD. They just took a bunch of people down for like accepting bribes in order to give permits and all this, that, and the other. And it's like, when you give a government agent like that much power, where they can just say yes or no for whatever reason. It doesn't matter. They just be like, well, we didn't feel like it. No. And there's nothing the citizen can do about it. It's inviting corruption. It's almost asking for it.
I can relate my recent experience in regards to the state of Illinois and the focus that we had is it was very clear that we were going to get in the last, what I'll call a year and a half before it passed, we were going to get some flavor of concealed carry. But we were also fully aware, those of us that were politically active, that if we did not push, we would get some sort of northeastern United States version of concealed carry rather than shall issue. So collectively, we pushed very hard on the shall issue point, explaining wherever we could the difference between shall issue and may issue and why it should be important to other people, and primarily to our legislators at both the House, State House, and State Senate level. And I think that was the difference between us getting the shall issue that we have and the may issue they wanted to give us.
And that's no insignificant achievement. That's that's a state that's typically led around by the nose by that city, and this time the city or the state had a larger voice.
Right. It was a combination of good political timing and people standing up, sending those emails, making those phone calls, going down to our state capitol, and going face to face with your legislators. I had the opportunity to go on 2 separate occasions with the group that I represent, both the Illinois State Rifle Association, as well as another group that I represent, and talked to. It was a scheduled event, so my representative knew I was coming by name to discuss, the bill. So it was a very positive interaction.
So Smeggy, where'd this typed in the internal come from?
Oh, there was one of those like question and answer type things. I was actually kind of saving it for myself for the second topic.
Oh,
So there was some stuff in there that I thought was interesting, but we can go over now if you want. I just thought it related more to the second topic.
That's fine. From what I'm reading of it, though, if it's correct, and you say it came from the internet, so I'm assuming it's correct. It says that I'm not correct. That just because the Supreme Court decided not to hear it doesn't mean they agree. It just means they haven't decided to hear it. So potentially,
right.
It hasn't.
You're correct in not being correct earlier. I was just going to correct you later.
All right. So I don't know. Tony keeps bringing it up, and Tony keeps bringing it up on the YouTube side, and I know it's been brought up by Ponery on the lobbies, but that travel one, do you guys pay attention to that at all?
Well, only slightly. I'm not that concerned with it.
What was the question?
The travel one that got upheld by the Supreme Court or something?
It didn't entirely get upheld. They decided for 90 days they would temporarily put it in place and then take it up for discussion this fall when they meet again.
And that was
what's the question specifically?
I guess what was that one? That was so that the president has the authority to say who can come into the country?
Well, no, we know he has the authority, but in this case, picking out 6 specific countries and whether people coming in from those countries can be vetted or not as far as the reason that they're coming here, and whether it's a reason that's accepted or whether it's a reason that cannot be verified.
Right, and that's the thing. And even the whole thing, 'cause people keep saying ban or whatever. It never was a ban. It was just it's a delay, and that's where that whole a right delayed is a right denied thing comes from, which is funny because they're so quick to delay gun rights, and they don't see the hypocrisy there. But yeah, I don't know. I don't follow it that closely. I'm not too concerned about it one way or the other. So whatever.
I would like to give just one example, if I might. Okay, if I say that I'm coming to the United States to go to college X, okay, and that's what I say, but then I have to bring like a letter of acceptance from College X that I'm expected to be there come this August, and it's not, and if it's February, well then why are you here now if you don't start till August? No, we would expect to see you sometime this summer or August. That's the sort of verification that they're looking for. And if you don't have it, then you just don't get an automatic you're in, because we don't have economic hardships to get into this country. That you have to have a specific reason. And if it's not on that list of reasons, then you don't get in.
Right, and that's the other thing is, as far as the travel thing goes, if you were already here for whatever reason, and you went back to one of these countries for a little bit, and now you want to come back to the U.S., they're saying, well, no, dude, you can't just come straight back. Like, we want to make sure that while you were there, like, they're probably going to try and look in to see what you were doing while you were there. Because there's been a handful of people that have basically done that, and when they went over there, they radicalized or got training or whatever, then they came back and did bad stuff. But either way, whatever, I don't know. And Tony's right, whatever. Like, just because I'm not concerned doesn't mean it's not a security risk or whatever. I don't think it's as big of a risk as other people do, and that's fine. We can disagree on that. It doesn't matter.
One point that Tony is making is that the list of countries that are currently being proposed to have some restrictions on are the exact same countries Obama wanted restrictions on. There is no difference between the list of countries. They are the same list.
Yeah, that's true. And that just proves Democrats are hypocrites.
So, but as far as whether it's justified or not, that's a different discussion that we won't get into.
Right. I'd like to go back to the open carry or the shall issue and may issue and all that kind of stuff. But it's as far as what to do or what to change, that's where I still don't really know. I don't know. Maybe we could bring it up later sometime. But I'd be interested in looking. Michigan used to be may issue. They used to have something called a gun board, and you had to go up in front of like 5 people or whatever and do an interview basically and explain why you wanted to have a concealed carry permit. And it was things like, well, I'm a business owner, I take money to the bank, or, you know, I have a stalker, or blah, 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 whatever. And again, some counties were just like, oh, I'm, you know, I just want it for self-defense. They say, okay, cool, whatever. And other ones would be like, nope, that's not a good enough reason. And so I'd be interested in looking up into seeing how we did get that changed. I'm assuming someone, you know, lobbied for a law that says, hey, let's get rid of this thing. And then it got passed and the governor signed it. So that was probably a grassroots organization.
Some sort of collective action. The question is where was that collective action focused? Was it focused at the executive branch of the state? Was it focused at the legislative branch of the state? Was it focused at the judicial arm of the state?
It went through, in Michigan's case, it did go through legislation and then was signed by the governor. So they wrote a bill that said, and we're not going to have gun boards anymore. As long as you don't disqualify, you get one. And then there was a list of all the things that disqualified you from having a carry permit. Which none of that changed. That was all the same, which was mostly, you know, don't be a bad guy or whatever. And then there was some other stuff, which again, I actually was talking about this earlier also, of that there are some like misdemeanors and stuff that disqualify you from a carry permit, even though, like, you know, federally and state level, you're allowed to own a firearm. And one of the examples is like drunk driving. So if you've ever had a drunk driving, you're not getting a CPL. It's just the way it is. Or within the last 10 years or whatever. I don't remember if that one had a timeline or not. I remember going through the list. I didn't have any crimes anyway, so I knew I was fine. But I did read through it when I was getting mine, just out of curiosity. And some of them were, have you had this in the last 5 years? Some of them were have you ever had this? Blah, blah, blah. So it is more strict than just the background check to, you know, buy a gun on the federal level.
But
That one's
at least
basically
it's,
felonies.
that I'm aware of, certainly the vast majority of changes, positively or negatively, are almost always a collective action focused at the legislative branch. That's where the majority of changes take place and how they take place.
Right. Well, I guess it's possible they could do like a similar thing of oh my God, I can't think of his name now. The Supreme Court case we're just talking about. But anyways, like you could maybe do something like that at a state level, and it's possible that the state Supreme Court could say, you know what? Yeah, you're right, because there are a lot of states. There are some that don't, but there are a lot of states that have some type of Second Amendment thing in their state constitution. You know, that even says like the right of the people to keep and bear arms, or like some of them are just copied from the U.S. Constitution. Others of them are long-winded. Others of them are short and sweet. But yeah, I think Michigan's like the right of the people for protection of themselves in the state to own to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed or something. Like they took out all the malicious stuff in the U.S. part, and so it's straight up yes, the people can own guns and bear guns. That's what they say. So if you're in a state like that, but you also have may issue, there it's possible it could only have to go up to the state level in the courts, and that would be a way of doing it. And then the court could say, yeah, you're right. Like as long as you're not prohibited, like you can carry, you know, that type of thing. But still probably best bet is some grassroots legislation type stuff. And just keep pushing it till you get it. But
I mean,
I know
in Illinois,
it's going to be an uphill battle.
In Illinois, the impetus was judicial, but the format that it came out in was legislative. So it's a very unique case what happened in the state that I live in. That's more likely not to happen the way I got it.
Right, but you guys are Illinois is still may issue. Is that correct, or am I wrong?
No, it's shall issue.
Oh, it's shall
It's
issue.
shall issue as long as you don't, you know, as you mentioned, as you don't have any disqualifiers. You're not a felon. You know, those typical things are on there that are typically on a 4473.
Right, and there, like I said, there may be some misdemeanors and stuff. It's possible. I would encourage people to look at their state level just to see what's in there, because some of them it's dumb. It's like, really, like I have a speeding ticket, I can't have a carry permit. Like that's kind of dumb. It's not that bad, but there are some that have nothing to do with like violence or proving you're a bad guy or anything. You just messed up on one thing or another.
Or things that are not a felony but have no time period, no timeout. Like if, you know, let's say you did something stupid when you were 17 or whatever, and it's a misdemeanor, and so that disqualifies you. But the way the law is written in such a way that it disqualifies you with no end period, meaning now it's 30 years later and you're still disqualified.
Yeah, at least in Michigan, most of them were within the past 5 years, within the past 10 years, blah, 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 whatever. But
so, G-Webs, you have any thoughts on this?
I've been distracted by reading the comments, which were not on topic. So I haven't been going along with everything you guys have been saying.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. I think it's interesting. I think that we're living in apathy, so it's going to be a massive challenge to defend against the shift from shall issue to may issue, which may happen. And it's an angle for Bloomberg, so I can't imagine why, if he can't get universal background checks, why he wouldn't strive for this or maybe do both. You know, it definitely gives him an opportunity. So it gives us yet another, I believe, important thing to worry about. I guess potentially, though. Maybe I'm wrong here, and the Supreme Court, you know, hasn't said one way or the other, so no one's going to start campaigns to do any of this stuff. But I don't know. I guess at some point you got to draw a line between theoretical issues to worry about and actual issues. So I don't know, I guess I'm just talking in circles, but I still think universal background checks are a worse threat than this right now. I don't know if are you guys talking still? Have you guys talked about actually changing from may to shall? I guess I'm thinking.
Well, yeah, that's what we were talking about.
I guess I was thinking more of the drift backwards. How many mays are there anymore?
Yeah, that's a good question. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I guess one of the things we need to start doing, perhaps
There may be 10.
I think we
I'm just thinking of all the states that don't honor my permit, and they're all the kind of bad ones. So I'm just guessing around that many.
One of the things we can do, and I'm going to try to put it on some list somewhere. I guess I have it Every Second Matters over on that software we're using for project management, but I'll go do that right now. Actually, I'm going to suggest let's put up a map and update it each month. It's not that hard to change in JPG, and I really think there's value in having the maps accumulate and archive. Like that one slideshow we've all seen, that GIF, I guess, that I made a GIF that goes through. It's kind of a crude United States, and it shows the colors of the states change as the CCW status changes.
Right.
I think having something like that, if we were to do that every month on Every Second Matters, number one, we'd all have it at the tips on our fingertips because we'd be doing it each month, and then it would be there for people who have questions. And then I don't like to duplicate effort, so if there's some good sources out there, then at least we'll put a place on Every Second Matters that links to those good updated maps or something. Because every time we talk about something like this in a chat, I undoubtedly look it up, and it's like a year-old article or a 6-month-old article. It's just every once in a while you happen to catch a recent one. But anyway, I'm not aware. If somebody's out there listening, we've got almost 30 people listening right now. If somebody's aware of a site that's out there that does that, keeps track of the various CCW statuses of the states, then please, if you're on the YouTube side, I guess you have to write the link out. Of course, on the gun channel side, just include a link over there. That'd be great.
Yeah, I did find, I'm trying to put a link out there, a map. This is from a year ago. Super current, but show that, let me see. I think I put it on the inside chat as well. Yeah, I did. As far as issues that either have may issue or something that basically in reality ends up being may issue, you've got California, New York, New Jersey, Connecticut,
Maryland. Connecticut's pale, permissive may issue.
Yeah.
And that little one is.
And I think it's Rhode Island in there. I'm not sure.
And that little guy's probably Rhode Island.
So maybe 7 states. Okay. Oh, include Hawaii. So that's 8. But again, this is a year. Actually, it's 2 years old.
Yeah, but I don't think those states have changed in the last year.
Yeah, but I'd like to see it. I mean, this is a great site and everything, at least for posting the information. Kudos, but can there be more freaking ads on there? I can barely tell where the hell the article is and where the damn ads are. So I think it's something that we could post on Every Second Matters to keep it updated. Yeah.
Well, that's a reflection of, me just trying to Google it as we're talking about it.
No, I hear you, and that's the same. That's exactly what I was saying. Every time you find something, it's like, oh, great, here's the info we're looking for from 2015, or here's the info we're looking for from last year. For luck.
Right.
All right. So, I don't know. Was that also the Supreme Court not taking gun cases, or do we do both of those, or is that a separate?
I think that's still just the first part.
All right. So then we're going to head into the second segment, since at some point we should. And that means that we're going to talk about one of the members over at Gun Channels. So every day between the first and the second segment, we take a break. We talk about one of the members over there. Gun Channels is a community that we built. It's going on 4 years old soon. It's completely run by its members. So I encourage anybody to check it out. For that reason, we feature one of the members each day. And today it's Native Gun, who chats quite a bit over there. He's out there right now. This week I basically just picked some random members that happen to be in the chat. So I don't think he's out there right now, but I don't know if you guys have chatted with him, but I see him out there quite a bit. Every once in a while he'll add something to the conversation. So we don't want to always pick people that are on these live shows, because that's not what it's all about. It's all about the community and the participation. So thanks to the people who are just out there being part of it.
I've seen him numerous times in the text chat, and once in a while, I think I've seen him in the lobby occasionally. But a nice addition to Gun Channels.
Yeah, I agree. Cool person.
So let's take a second to talk about Gun Channels, since a lot of people, well, basically we get a bunch of members who have been kind of clogged right now because the login system, the sign-up system is busted. So Gun Channels is us. Like, there's a couple of us that run the place. It's not, you know, some entity. It's not a big corporation or nothing. So there's, you know, X amount of time in the day, and I'm not using excuses. I'm just trying to lay it down that, you know, it's just us. So I am tag teaming right now with the tech support people to try to figure out what it is. But you know, for the most part, it's run pretty flawlessly for 4 years now. There have been technical issues, and I'm sure there will be more in the future. We're using fairly decent software, but like anything, you know, you can have a flat tire once in a while, and that's basically what we're dealing with now. So I apologize for the delay, but give me a break. This isn't like I've got unlimited resources here to stop everything, or at least, you know, make one phone call and have it fixed. It's taken a bunch of emails going back and forth, and it's just time in order to reply to an email and stuff. So we don't have thousands of people beating down the door. It's just a couple of people. So I just wanted to address it to let you people who are out there who have been trying to log in know, and also not to get the perception that there's, I don't want people to think there's, like, you know, thousands of people that can't get in or anything. There's, as far as I know, about 6 people that have had a problem. So we're working on it. And again, thanks for your patience on that. I don't have anybody money right now. Zuckerberg money.
That would be nice, though, wouldn't it?
No, I don't think so. I think there'd be a whole different set of problems if you just threw money at everything. I don't mind being in the trenches. I enjoy figuring out what these problems are so that we can solve them in the future. Gun Channels is grassroots. Gun Channels ain't some big polished thing. It would turn into something different, I think. So I don't really think I want those problems. I'm cool with our problems. All right, well, so then we'll dig into this next topic. So again, thanks Native Gun for being part of Gun Channels. If you guys want to ever suggest somebody for our the featured member of the day, feel free. We have an email address, dailygunshow@gmail.com. And if you wanted to send 5 recommendations in, and we'll let people figure out what your commonality or whatever, what your theme is for the list, and then we'll credit you. So be part of the show. Feel free to drop that in. I don't know if we've mentioned that before, but you're always welcome. We do these shows once a month at the scheduling show, and then usually a couple of times during the month we'll do an early show, so anybody can jump in and offer suggestions. Sorry, Dano.
That's okay. I was just, you were talking about the email address, and I want to go ahead and put that request for questions and answers for the Tactical Pop Quiz out there. If you could send that to us at dailygunshow@gmail.com. I would appreciate it greatly. Just put in the subject line, Tactical Pop Quiz, and it would be greatly appreciated. We are getting fairly low in the questions and answers, so any help would be greatly appreciated. Once again, send that to dailygunshow@gmail.com. Thank you.
You know, Dano, here's a thing. Let me see if I got what folder I have open here. So I'm going to do 2 more clicks here, and I should have a thing that I can use as an example. Whoa, my computer's running slow. I was bragging about how fast it was earlier. So let's say I were to do this on my computer, right? See what I got there?
No, you're not screen sharing.
Oh, well, then I would also screen share for this example to work better. So you see what I got there? And now
kind of a little pixelated.
Okay, that's the point. And I see what I did? I'm just clicking on my scroll thing. See what I'm doing?
Oh, I like the
Yep.
guess the gun by the picture thing.
See what I'm doing here?
It's a 1911.
See, Smeggy's wrong. So at some point, you get a bunch of guesses, and you get some participation going. And all this takes is a picture on your computer. What the hell is this?
Let's see.
Oh, okay. Mika in Finland is texting me right now. So anyway, that was just going to suggest that's a way to do a
COP 357?
Yep. Well, yes. But anyway, that's a way to do a pop quiz that doesn't involve having to go get a bunch of questions and answers and everything. There's other ways to do it. We did the audio ones before too. You got that tab to dip into. Sorry, we're doing a little off-air or on-air background stuff. So we're going to talk about Supreme Court's not taking gun cases.
Yeah, I was more thinking of like, you know, what happens when they do take the case or choose not to take the case. And it does seem like they haven't really taken that many 2A cases really just about ever, let alone recently. I mean, you had Heller and McDonald have been recent, and that's really been about it, at least that I know of. So, yeah, one of the things that I guess I'll read this thing over on the side that you kind of touched on earlier, as far as like what does it mean, like this Peruta case, you know, they declined to hear the case, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they said, "Yep, the Ninth Circuit was correct." And so one of the things, where does it go? So Supreme Court generally only entertains cases where it will be resolving a conflict of interpretation of the law existing between two lower courts. So suppose you bring a case, raise the interpretation of law X, and the lower court says gives the interpretation of Y to law X. So, blah, 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 whatever. So interpretation means you lose the case. Then they will wait until another court gives the interpretation of not Y to log X. Once this happens, they will likely think the case is worth their time to hear the case. So it's like, so if one lower circuit says like, yep, this is okay because I interpret it this way, and then another circuit says, oh, I interpret this the other way, and so this is fine, then the Supreme Court will step in and be like, all right, it's a battle between like the ninth and the third. They both said two different things. We'll take it, and then we'll say, all right, yep, it means this, and hopefully it would be pro Second Amendment because then that's the law of the land everywhere.
So basically, they're less likely to take one that's just an individual or a group's displeasure with the circuit court ruling, but they are more willing to take a dispute between two differing circuit court rulings on the same issue. So if one says yes, the other one says no, they'll take that over just somebody not liking the no verdict.
Correct.
All
Yeah.
right.
And that's,
so as long as it isn't gone, without any chance of coming back, then I'm less pessimistic about it.
Right, but I think you'd have to find then a different state that's may issue that someone gets up through and it goes all the way to that circuit court, and they say you're correct, like it should be shall issue. And then there'll be a fight between the ninth and whatever that other state circuit court is, and then the Supreme Court would step in.
I'm good with that. It gives us something to shoot for. So now we just have to find that perfect case and then give it some support and follow it through and create that situation and then watch the Supreme Court do its thing.
So that case needs to come from somewhere in the Northeast United States because it has to come from a separate appeals court.
What a location is. Oh, I see what you're saying. A different.
Yeah, because Hawaii falls under the same appeals court as California.
But they're on the recreational marijuana over there, so they could probably take the similar case right up and give it a different result and then just conflict against themselves because they're not stable over there.
Yeah, and then I found this other answer out there that's just is kind of interesting. It's basically just says, what happens if the Supreme Court refuses to hear a case? The opinion of the lower court stands, and there's no further opinion for that case to appeal. And then the court almost never provides any reason for denying a right of appeals. So there's literally no record or precedent set by such a decision. Many people will make conjectures about the reason, but there's nothing binding on future cases of a similar nature. So there won't be, if another case comes up, they can't say, well, the Supreme Court refused to hear it, therefore we must be right. It's like, no,
well,
it doesn't work that way.
And on the YouTube side, that this can be used as a precedent now for other circuits.
I know, and
You disagree.
Well, I think that they could use the 9th decision as precedent, but they can't mention that, well, the Supreme Court agrees, because they don't. It just means, it's like a
So is that what cycle meant, that people can now take the decision of the Ninth Circuit Court and say, well, it is their decision over there, so we're just going to assume it's going to be our decision, so we'll just not allow this.
They could cite it as precedent. They're like, well, this other court thought that it's good to go.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, he just clarified. Yeah, the lower court's ruling, not the Supreme Court's. So, but anyway, so it doesn't mean that it's necessarily officially gone. It's going to be a lot more down the road now, because something else would have to happen, and then someone else would have to file like another appeal to Supreme Court. So it's like Peruta won't be going to Supreme Court, but if something else comes up, that might make it all the way up. So it's a bummer, but it's not completely dead, I think. Like I said, it at least gets them there. They're not saying they agree with the 9th. They're just saying, it's like, so you say, hey, do you like me? Yes or no? And they bring back the note checked maybe. That's what Supreme Court did. It's like, is this constitutional or not? Maybe. They didn't answer one way or the other.
It's like more like they threw out the note in the trash, so you don't even have an answer.
That's a good way of saying it too. Yeah. I don't know why that always happens to me too. That's kind of rude.
All right, well, I'm going to suggest then that we can move into the history of the day, because there's something interesting that happened today. Well, today's historic of what?
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry, I forgot we have to do everything on a schedule. So then this, I'm just thinking it blends in here. We're talking about Supreme Court ruling on gun cases. This wasn't technically a gun case, so I still think that we have had very few Supreme Court decisions on the Second Amendment. This one happens to have guns involved, and the Second Amendment is affected by it, but it was really a 10th Amendment issue. But anyway, it's today, June 27th, in 1997, that the Prince case was ruled on by the Supreme Court. So I don't know if you guys remember this one. The stupid Brady law required a background check and a waiting period, and they tasked the local law enforcement with doing that background check. And this was before the Nix check. So a sheriff here in Arizona, and actually 2 sheriffs in Arizona, but one predominantly, basically told the feds to screw off. They can't task us with a bunch of stuff unless they're going to pay us. And even if they pay us, we're not just doing it. We're not your boss. You're not the boss of us. And that one sheriff said nope, and that was enough. That was the Tiananmen Square of federal firearms laws. Went up to the Supreme Court, and today in 1997, the Supreme Court ruled 4-5 or something like that. That screw you, federal government. You can't tell local law enforcement what to do and to waste their time doing it. And that was excellent. So I don't want to always act like everything's out to get us and that there's nothing we can do. That was one sheriff who had the encouragement of another sheriff, and they took that freaking thing up to the Supreme Court and got rid of the Brady law. So we didn't have like we didn't have the background check anymore nationally. Some states decided to keep it, and then for like a minute we didn't have anything, but then the Nix check happened. So it basically was replaced by the Nix check. So we still have some infringements there, but this was a minor but significant win for our side, and it had something to do with the Supreme Court. I think it's just because this is the time when the Supreme Court leaves for the year, right? So all this stuff just happens to happen. We've had a lot of Supreme Court anniversaries now, and it's just like I say, the time of year when they leave. So that was another one, and fairly recent. We were all alive in '97, I think.
I also think it's an outstanding example of, we were talking earlier about a focused effort of those, and just focusing that collective effort towards the legislative action to try to get things to happen. Here we have an example of an individual of the right mind, at the right place, in the right position, can make positive change. And that's very unusual, but it can happen. And here's a clear example where it did.
I don't think it's unusual because it's difficult or it's impossible. I think it's rare because people don't realize that they can do it and then pursue it, and that, you know, a couple of failures on the way aren't catastrophic, and, you know, you just keep going. And like that one, you know, the case kept getting ruled and kept getting ruled till it went to the Supreme Court. So stick-to-itiveness and create opportunity.
Yep.
Maybe wear a windbreaker because you don't know if it's going to be raining or what when you get there.
They're coming! They're coming! It's coming! It's the Tactical Pop Quiz of the Day! Congratulations, it's finally here! So those of you over on YouTube and those of you over on Gun Channels, put your cursor down in the text box, limber up your fingers. Smeggy, are you available to assist today?
Yes, I am, and I have seen both answers.
I'll settle for the first.
Oh, really? Okay.
The non-parentheses.
Oh, okay. Bonus points for parentheses.
Yes, definitely. Okay, I'll read today's question twice, and I want to first thank Angry American for sending this one in. And the question is as follows. What was the firearm and caliber of the firearm used to assassinate President Garfield? Again, what was the firearm and caliber of the firearm used to assassinate President Garfield? Now, you can just give us the name of the firearm. That's good enough. You don't have to give us the caliber, but bonus points if you do.
Okay. Nothing. I think all the feeds went dead. Everybody's good.
Moon answered. He's just wrong. He's dumb.
Yeah. Come on, Moon. You better than that.
Faster. A Webley 320? No.
Hudson 9R? No.
Don't read Moon's comments.
Oh, wait a minute. Michael Camp. Psycho Camp, I can't believe it. Yes, it is the British Bulldog revolver in .442 caliber. So congratulations, Psycho Camp. You are today's Tactical Pop Quiz winner.
This is over on the YouTube side?
No, on the Gun Channel side.
No, on Gun Channel side.
Okay.
See, he's chatting on the YouTube side, but he realized for the Tactical Pop Quiz, he better hop over to Gun Channels.
Yeah.
Smart thinking.
How Grim is saying they lost audio. Maybe YouTube is trying to screw with us, and they're dropping audio from the YouTube side right when the pop quiz happens.
I don't know, because Tony guessed Webley on YouTube, so I mean, it's someone else was having trouble with the audio, and they said, "Oh, when I stopped using the YouTube app on my phone, it started working." I've had trouble with my YouTube app as well, watching live stuff. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But I think I need to update it, and maybe it will work, because I haven't updated my app in a long time.
All right, I'm going to ask a question, just a yes and no, left to right. Dano, lasagna, yes or no?
Yes.
Smeggy, lasagna, yes or no?
Yes.
Interesting. I don't know. I haven't had lasagna in forever, but I'm going to go with no, just to be contrary, I guess.
But it's good.
Oh.
I haven't had it in forever. I don't even remember eating lasagna anymore. Kind of remember it.
Is it part of your anti-gluten thing?
I don't know. Nobody ever makes it, and I don't ever order it, so I just haven't ate it. One of those things.
My mom makes good lasagna.
I don't know anybody that makes it, so I live in the Southwest. So nobody makes lasagna down here, really.
You live in the Southwest now. It's not like you've been there your entire life.
Well, okay, that's what I'm saying. But I literally haven't had it in for, I can't even remember. I just saw somebody, Broom talked about it on the YouTube side, and it made me think. I don't even remember eating it. Okay, so anyway, we'll go back to non-food topics before we get into donuts or something.
Right. Well, before we move on, though, I just want to say, Cycle Camp, for playing both sides to your advantage, that makes you the tactical hot shot of the day.
Good job, Smeg.
Okay, so every Tuesday, State of the State, we talk about what's going on with the state each week, and today it's Maine.
Yes, today, Tuesday, we have gun laws in Maine. And Maine, it kind of stands out in regards to gun laws a lot in the Northeast as far as being a very, very gun-friendly state as compared to most of the rest of the Northeast of the United States. So let's go ahead and go down some of the categories. There is no permit for purchase required. There is no firearm registration. There is no licensing of the owners. There is no carry permits required. They do have open carry for both long guns and handguns. There is state preemption of local restrictions. They have no restrictions on assault weapons. They have no capacity restrictions on magazines. There's no restrictions on NFA items. They are a shall certify within 15 days. And lastly, they do not have background checks for private gun sales. And that is the state of the state for Maine. Very standing out all in the East Coast, upper East Coast, almost by itself, with the exception of, what's that? It's not Vermont, it's the other one.
Oh, Vermont. New Hampshire's right next to it.
It's one of those two that's also very gun friendly.
Vermont.
Okay. Vermont.
You ever been to Maine?
Once.
Aren't there like 7 people who live there?
I don't know. I think I heard something like a bunch of people from Massachusetts move up there and making it all lame.
Yeah. I think it was Portland, Maine, that I was at, and I was there on business for the Navy.
What was the sub number?
42.
XYZ, none of your biz.
I don't know. I watched that how the states got their shape. I think it was that show, and they talk about how Maine is all weird, and they don't really necessarily know where all the boundaries are necessarily. Seems kind of like a wilderness type of state. Live up here, you're on your own. I don't really think about it very much because I don't live anywhere near it, but I like how it just up into Canada like that, just to piss them off.
It's like giving the finger to Canada.
Yeah, like poking right into this whole chunk of Canada. I don't know why we just didn't go straight across right here. Fuck with them a little more. Anyway, I think I'd like to go to Maine. It seems like a pretty neat place. I don't think we've had any members from Maine, have we? Gun channels?
Not that I know of.
But like Smeggy said, there's probably like 8 people living there. I gave him 2 more because of the people from Massachusetts.
Yeah. So as far as current stuff, I'm trying to think, other than constitutional carry, I don't know how you could actually make it better.
Well, I got a couple things here. One, you make it better by not making it worse. And as of, what was this, June 16th, so pretty recently, last week or 2 weeks ago, whatever, they voted down legislative document 351, which is an anti-gun bill that would allow municipalities to prohibit firearm owners from carrying during public proceedings and in polling places and blah, blah, blah. So they wanted to restrict that. That was voted down. So that's a step in the right direction because it's not a step backwards. It's kind of standing still. And then this other one from June 13th was signed by the governor, and that's legislative document 9, has been signed into law, and it would prohibit a government agency or political subdivision of Maine from keeping a list or registry of privately owned firearms or a list or registry from the owners of those firearms. And then it says, while federal law prohibits a universal national gun registry, there are 8 states which prohibit state-level gun registries, and Maine would be the 9th. So now if they do want to do a registry, they got to overturn the state-level one, and then they have to pass the thing to start doing it. So that's like you're putting up a fence in front of the right. So it's still not necessarily making it like more freedoms, but they are bolstering their defenses to keep the freedoms they have. And those are 2 things that happened in June.
And that's a good example. I hadn't thought of that, but you're exactly right. As far as, it's also a good way of testing the temperature of their backbone to keep what they have. Is to see, are they currently as staunchly pro-freedom as obviously they had been in the past when they established those laws? And the examples that you gave surely point in the direction that they are.
Right. They're at least willing to fight to keep what they have, yeah.
Yes.
So again, I don't think either of those is necessarily a step in the right direction, but the one is not a step back, and the other one is putting a fence in front of you, so they have to knock the fence down before they can try and push you back.
Right.
And I wish more states would do that, because even some of the really good states, they're just like, well, this isn't an issue. Like, we're fine. We have all the rights we want. But then there's no roadblocks for if someone comes in and says, we want to take these rights away, then it's just like, oh, okay, I guess you can do that now. Whereas if you have to overturn 2 or 3 laws and then vote to take away the right, like, that's going to be a lot harder to do. So I like those little roadblocks. Yeah, exactly.
I like it because it's a protection against people that you don't even know yet that are going to be sitting in, maybe even in your office 10 years, 20 years down the road. And what they may propose may be the opposite of what you're for.
Oh, exactly. And that's where I think the whole idea of like smaller government, less power type stuff, that's why I side with that, is because you might think, oh, it's awesome when, my person is in charge. They are like a dictator. They get to do whatever they want. This is great. Except when your person isn't in charge and then they get to act like a dictator and do whatever they want, that's bad. So I don't want any of them to have full power. So it's hard for both sides to do whatever they want to do, because that just protects all of the citizens. And that's completely overreaching than just guns, but definitely with the gun thing. I don't want stuff to be like, all guns are legal, everyone, free candy, whatever. Like, that would be cool, but then that means they can also say all guns are illegal at the same time, like when the next guy comes in. So I don't like them having that power.
And that was one of the arguments used against the Patriot Act. I realize that's not a gun thing, but it is a liberty, freedom loving thing. To want to protect your privacy and giving your power away to what you said. The current people in power doesn't mean that the people after them are going to respect that tool that you've now created for them.
Yep. But anyway, so back to Maine. Yeah, they do seem pretty darn good. So good for them. And the couple of things they have done gun related recently have been pro-gun type things, so also good for them.
Yep. All right, so what do we got next, G-Webs?
Let's see. We should probably do a gun shop of the day. Anybody have one off the top of their head?
I do.
Okay.
Oh.
Let me just remember exactly what it's called. Sorry, so it's not exactly on the top of my head, but it's on the top of Instagram.
While you're doing that, Robbie's saying that he had a buddy that moved to Maine. They paid him he paid $50 an acre and works from home. Built a huge cabin. Yeah, that seems like a pretty cool way to deal with it.
Well, I guess it's been a while since I've been there. So anyways, this is in Lafayette, Indiana.
What?
And what? Is that okay?
I guess.
All right. Jeez. Anyways, this place is called 4 Guns. And it's a nice little gun shop. It's in a little strip mall thing. I'll look for the website now. I just had to find the name off of my Instagram post from a long time ago. But it was pretty cool. I mean, like I said, it was small, but they had a decent selection of guns, and this was, I think ammo was still a little scarce, and they seemed to have a pretty good amount of ammo sitting on the shelf, and they had accessories and all sorts of stuff, and really nice to talk to. I mean, I went in there and I was talking to them for a while, and then I know I've given this example before, but this dude came in with his McDonald's breakfast, and he just pulled up a little bar stool right up to the counter and set his greasy McDonald's on the glass and started talking to the dude standing behind the counter. And it was one of those, like, cool for him. They know him. He's obviously a regular, and they were talking, but it kind of boxed me out because I'm like, I don't really want to jump in and interrupt whatever they're talking about. I did a couple times, but I kind of just wandered around a little bit, and it took off. So here, let me screen share real quick. I think I found their website. Oh, looks like maybe Daniel found the website too.
If he's gonna eat in public, then just like share his like hash brown thingies or take a bite.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, he didn't bring anything in for the people who work there either. So that was kind of like, what the heck, dude? You just come in and eat your breakfast. But whatever. I told him about gun channels. I'm like, hey, you want to BS with people about guns, like join gun channels, and then you don't have to get greasy stuff all over their glass. So let's see if there's an about us or anything. It's like when you go to their website, it just jumps in with, hey, look at all this stuff, right? So I guess they're all about selling some stuff. I don't really see any like about us page. Am I missing it? I don't know about store policy. That's probably not it. But anyways, they were very nice. I only got a picture of the outside of their shop. But yeah, I don't see an about us anywhere on here. That's interesting. Open Monday through Saturday, 9 to 7. There you go. And yeah, not really. I don't see any pictures or anything. So their website is geared for selling stuff, but not really geared for telling you what the shop's like. So I guess you just have to swing by and check it out. Oh, there's a, hey, how the heck do you find that? There you go. That's a good picture, Daniel. So you can see, quite a few stuff on the wall, pretty good stuff in the counter. There wasn't a picnic table, but like I said, they do have bar stools. I'm guessing that's for like when you're filling out a 4473, you can pull a bar stool up to the counter, sit down. But apparently you can also eat an egg McMuffin in there. I didn't see any coffee either.
But they have a chair, okay.
Yeah, they have like a bar stool. So you have a place to sit down. But again, it is pretty small. But it's nice. So yeah, if you're in the area, check it out. Tell them I said hi. They don't know who I am, so that'll be great. They'll be like, who the heck's this Smeggy dude? But tell them I said hi anyways. And, just trying to, this is one of them, after, the Daily Gun Show really kicked off and the idea of visiting shops or whatever, I've really been on the lookout. When I'm out of town for work, if I work a half day or whatever, I drive down the night before or something, I try and stop into a shop. And that's what happened with this. There's a auto plant nearby that I was working at. I was there for a couple weeks and I ended up having an off day. So I swung by in the morning and checked it out.
Very cool. So we got the link. Throw the link in here so we can, or at least throw it into the notes there so we just have it for our records or whatever. And then that was our gun shop of the day. Like Smeggy said, we try to feature a new shop every day. I don't think we've done that one before. You've talked about it, but I don't think we've talked about it.
I don't think it's ever been on the Daily Show. No, that's why I did it.
All right. So Tony's saying a Kickstarter for a 4473 rubber stamp that puts all the answers in right away in one stamp. Wonder if you could do that. Do it like a rolling thing or something. Wonder if they take that. I think it has to be filled out in ink though. What if you had like a robot do it? You could hook it up to that thing that you have for cutting, right? Except have that thing fill out 4473 for you with a pen. That'd be pretty cool. Anyway,
Except now not all question 11 stuff is go or no go, like the Hispanic thing. They just want to know, are you Hispanic or not?
Mm-hmm. That has to do with fiddling with the population stuff.
Right, but everything else on question 11 is pretty much go or no go.
Oh, that's why this got all messed up. Okay.
That I can think of.
That was pretty much all our topics for the day. We should probably come up with a gun of the day and a movie of the day. We didn't fill one out here. So the first person to throw a movie out there will be our movie of the day. And do you guys have an idea for the gun of the day? I was thinking we could use that one from the quiz.
Yeah, let's do that. The Bulldog.
If I can get my thing to copy and paste here. There we go. So it looks like a little goofy looking revolver. In 442, so that's almost as big as a 45. Made this guy lean over. I'm just guessing he got shot in the back. Somewhere right around here. This guy maybe is the guy that had the gun. You guys ever shot one of these or fiddled with one?
Oh no.
Really?
Not at all.
I own one of these little ones. Like this.
Like a 22 short?
Yeah. But I don't know if I've shot a big one before. They're usually pretty crickety. They're like, not Zamek. They're like weird metal that doesn't have any weight to it. So I don't know what the hell they made them out of. They're weird. I wouldn't probably shoot one nowadays.
But the grip kind of seems weird. Well, some of them are different grips than others. So I don't know if there's been different models or whatever, but it's like, were they still trying to figure out what a good angle and stuff for revolvers was?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Some of them have that bird's head sort of grip.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the other ones are like notched down and then the grip starts. Like that seems like it's you get a lot of rotation from that because your pivot angle's so far back.
The fuck is pivot angle?
Like where it's pivoting from on the recoil. Anyways.
It says it's made in the USA. I would have thought that was some kind of European gun. Oh, it says various manufacturers in Europe and USA. Okay. So it looks like it's designed by Webley. That makes a little sense. It looks kind of like a little goofy looking Webley. There's the thing from our quiz. And it's been in existence since 1868. So I guess now they're calling it any short barrel double action revolver with a swing out ejector rod and a short grip. So yeah, mine's from like Europe. Maybe there's nicer ones out there, but I haven't seen that many of them, so I don't know how popular they really were. Does it say how many of them were made? Produced for about 30 years. And it doesn't tell us how many of them were made, but anyway, you guys haven't seen them.
They say maximum firing range like 20 yards. Like, what, does the bullet fall to the ground after that?
Yeah, it's stupid old-fashioned black powder cartridges, probably. So what would the one we were talking about was 442 Webley?
44? 40.
Yeah, 442. So the 442 Webley, they're saying was made in 1868, and it lasted until the 1950s. I was going to say, I bet you it's black powder, though. It was later joined by a Sawonkless variety. Is it going to tell us how, okay, it says roughly similar to power to a 38 Special, 41 Colt, or a 41 Smith & Wesson American. Now that is.
Well, 38 Smith & Wesson is not a 38 Special.
Correct. It's somewhat less potent than the later 38 Special or 45. As a consequence, not suitable for anything but close range. So it's a inherent weakness of the ammo.
Right, but that was designed as kind of like a concealed carry type gun, right? I mean, it's small and it's...
No, I think it's more because if you look where it was made, origin, British Empire, you can knock down a European with like a spit butt. So they just... it's easier to knock down a European.
That makes sense. Well, and the country's so small that, like, you know, you don't have very much room anyways. Everyone's just all standing next to each other.
If they shot a 45 ACP in like England, like somebody in Germany might be in danger. Like it's like living in the I don't know, very close together. Anyway, so that's our gun of the day.
It's interesting. Yeah, I didn't know what it was just based off of the pop quiz.
All right. So anything about a movie on the YouTube side? Movie Blood Diamond. Okay, we got one answer, and that was the first one I saw on the YouTube side. Over on the Gun Channel side, anything?
No.
Nothing. So it's Blood Diamond. It is. I think we've talked about it before. You guys seen it?
I have seen it.
Dano?
I have not. I thought it was a different movie that I had seen, but I have not seen this one.
It's what the hell's the guy's name? DiCaprio and a bunch of other people I don't know, and he's like some kind of adventurer, but he's a good guy in like Africa someplace.
Well, ish. He's not. He's technically he's a diamond smuggler. That's the whole Blood Diamond thing.
But a good guy, because he's good about it.
I guess.
He sacrifices shit for people. Like he helps out.
Yeah, I think he's a bad guy turns into a good guy kind of thing. Yeah.
Because I'm getting a different movie for Blood Drive.
Blood Drive?
Well, it's not Blood Drive, so that would be why.
Blood Drive.
Oh.
Blood Diamond.
Oh,
Blood
that would
Diamond.
make a difference. Blood
Yeah.
Diamonds. Different spelling.
Atlas Blood Drive.
You know, I'm getting a different movie when I type in The Matrix. I don't know why it's not. I mean, just different words than what you guys said.
This movie looks stupid.
That stupid red raindrop or something. What the hell's that all about? Oh, we love you, Dano.
But now this one does look somewhat familiar. I think I may have seen it.
Yeah, he's a smuggler, and basically this dude is like being forced to work in the diamond mines because the bad guys came in and like took over his village or whatever, and he finds this like really big diamond, and he sneaks it out, like he steals it, and then the other dude tries to help him like sell it in the other country or whatever, and all the bad guys are chasing them, and the government's trying to get him and all that kind of stuff. But like I said, I don't want to give away too much. I know it's an older movie, but if you haven't seen it, like I'm not going to tell you that actually in the end they're all aliens or anything. Oops, I accidentally just did. But yeah, I thought it was a good movie. I mean, people always give Leo a bunch of crap, but sometimes he sucks. And this movie, I thought he was good in it. And it's one of those things, like, especially knowing that it's like kind of true story-ish, like this type of stuff does happen where the people take over the village. And, you know, it had, what are they called? Like those child soldier people. Like that was part of the thing where they were taking the kids and teaching them how to use a gun and making them fight and all. Like, I don't know. It's just like, wow, dude, that's pretty messed up. So it actually kind of got to me a little, like, emotionally speaking. Like after the movie was over, I just kept thinking about it. It was like, wow, that's like really messed up. Like that really sucks.
Talking about,
so I don't know.
Going on with Google Images, these are the shittiest results I've seen ever. It was like
well, that one gray one's pretty cool. But yeah, it only loaded like a couple of pictures.
Anyway, definitely a gun movie. There's some AKs in it, some FALs, you know, stuff you'd expect to see in Africa on a modern. I think it's modern. I don't think it's like from the 70s or anything.
Yeah, it's modern-ish. I mean, I think it's, I forget exactly when, but
you can see by that cell phone. 80s, 90s.
In 90s, probably, yeah. Well, I'm on the Impfdumbuba, and it's got a Glock 26, H&K USP Compact, HK USP, Smith & Wesson Model 629, a Camelot Delvgren Model 1873. I don't know what that is. I also don't know how to read. Browning High Power. Oh, where's Bob? A Colt 1911.
Show up now.
Yeah, rifle. It's got a Colt Car 15 variant, a Norinco Type 56, an AK-47, HKG3, M16A2, and Lee Enfield Mark III, a heavy machine gun, a Browning 1919 A4, 1919 A6.
You are watching Style Video.
Okay.
Oh, that's my favorite song. Browning M2, PKM, and RPK, an IMI Uzi, and a Sterling L2A2.
That's Raphael's fault, by the way. Linking the stuff.
I was halfway up to dancing.
I thought it was going to be like a Gun Channel theme, like, you are watching Daily Gun Show.
We should do something.
We should do something like that. Only less lame.
Yeah.
All right, well, is that the end of the movie, or are you still reading off guns?
That was it.
That's
Right.
pretty much it.
But there was lots of examples of each of those. Like, so probably like when they typed in AK-47, it's probably because they're just like, yeah, there's a bunch of AK type stuff.
And I guess I like to look at the gun history, even though we already kind of talked about the significant thing for gun history today. In case there's anything interesting over here. 2 German pilots are saved by parachutes for the first time in 1918. Oh, listen to this. This is sort of interesting relation to what we talked about today. 1927, the U.S. Marines adopt the English Bulldog as their mascot. So today, in 1927, the Marines adopted the Bulldog. And we had talked about a Bulldog as a gun today.
That's pretty neat.
Nothing else.
He's asking if it was Mauser's birthday.
Today is Helen Keller's birthday. And it's not Mauser's birthday, I don't think. All right.
Kind of makes you wonder how she celebrated it.
With cake, I would assume.
Yeah.
Well, the sense of taste is about the only one she had left, and touch.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all you need for cake.
Say, well, if every great once in a while you taste something really sweet, it must be your birthday.
They could communicate with her with the whole hand signal things.
In the movie? Come on.
I thought she was blind.
Come on.
Yeah, she was. That's why. Do you not know how Helen Keller works? They like made symbols. She would hold someone's hand, and they would make a symbol. You know, water, Helen, water, and then she's like, water, yay! And then they could communicate. She didn't just like wander around doing nothing.
She just hung out and was like a writer and stuff. Once a year, she ate something sweet.
Yeah, she just went on huge like speaking tours and all sorts of crap. But yeah, she has no idea what birthday cake is.
I feel like all the Helen Keller aficionados out there are going to lose all respect for our show.
Well, all I can say is that's all I know about Helen Keller.
The thoughts and opinions represented by Dano do not necessarily represent the thoughts and opinions of Daily Gun Show, since the other two hosts know more about Helen Keller than he does.
But anyway, it was her birthday, so that's kind of cool. Obviously, she was led a interesting life, which is in the good way, and very inspirational for lots of people. So, pretty cool.
Would you want to live that life?
To have a challenge as significant as she had, and to overcome them, and to be now, what year did I say that was? And we're still talking about her on a freaking hangout that has nothing to do with her at all. I think she did pretty decent. She's an inspiration, man.
I'm not saying she didn't do well for what she had. I'm just saying, would you want those challenges that she had? I wouldn't.
I'm dealing with my challenges right now, but yeah, I mean, that would definitely be a difficult set of circumstances. We should all appreciate our situations, right? I mean, half the shit she had to deal with would suck. A portion of it, she had to deal with it all. All right, well, so with that, that's kind of interesting. We hit on that randomly off the history site there, but I I think we can go ahead and say that's about it. We will be back tomorrow on Wednesday with episode 343. We do more of a light show on Wednesdays, Second Amendment Tuesdays, light show on Wednesday. We're going to be talking about Barney Miller, one of my favorite shows from back in the day, the more I think about it, and 70s and 80s cop shows. Maybe I'm thinking fondly back to the olden days of J-frames, shoulder holsters. But anyway, we'll be talking about good and bad idea, where we face off today or this week. It'll be frangible ammo for home defense, and we'll probably be doing the hashtag Daily Gun Show showdown. There was 488 posts last week. We have no idea how many there'll be this week, because hopefully you'll be participating in that as people that are watching and listening to the show. Go over to Instagrams, use hashtag Daily Gun Show, and then we'll bring them up on the screen tomorrow. We'll judge them, and then we'll pick a winner. Let's see, today is Tuesday, so do we have any shows happening on gun channels on Tuesdays anymore? Really?
Not that I know of.
Actually, we got Tuesday's a pretty full night. We've got Smeggy is the co-host with Night Strike.
Isn't it called Swing and a Miss?
Hit or Miss, 9 p.m.
Swing and a Miss. He's out.
We are Quarkin, which means double booking, right on top of Andalusia Armory, who's an excellent show worth listening to. They are a gun shop in Andalusia, Alabama, and they shut down a little early on Tuesday and turn on the cameras and talk shop. So if you don't have the opportunity to be friends with and listen to the kind of shop talk of the local shop, then you can be one of the people to listen to the shop in Andalusia. So that's recorded right now, so you could either be listening to us as later because you're listening to them live, or you could listen to them later. But anyway, like we said, Hit or Miss is after that, and then Rick does Big Gunners, or the Big Gunner 81 show a little bit later on in the evening. So Tuesdays are a big day, and there's plenty of opportunity for people to do some sort of after show in the evening. Thanks to Knives, who's been hosting the lobby chats. I appreciate that. And he's a new moderator over on Gun Channel, so we can go in and add the lobbies. He's been doing that for the last couple of days. And I'm assuming tomorrow we'll see either Jimmy James or Sean doing a long format day show or daytime show.
Yep, kudos to all them.
I guess that means tomorrow, well, we already talked about our show tomorrow, so that's everything. So now we just have to wait for Bob to show up and end the show.
All right, well, I'll go ahead and fill in for Bob unless you want to, Smeg.
You can do it because you found it. I just want to say real quick, like, share, subscribe, give us the comments, give us the thumbs, all those good things. Keep on chatting. We enjoy all the live stuff.
All right, sounds good. We'd like to end the show with a quote. Today we have one from...
I have one quick announcement. This will be my last show. I'm going to be buying a $14,000 van and hitting the road.
Yeah, so
well,
don't expect to
mobile
hear from UWebs anytime soon. But getting back to the quote of the day from David W. Loffer, the Constitution shall never be construed to prevent the people of the United States who are peaceable citizens from keeping their own arms. And with that, I would like to thank you all for listening, and please be prepared.
The guys and gals of gunwebsites.com encourage you to take a CCW class every year, practice at least once a month, and carry every day. Thanks for watching gunwebsites.com.